So in this Diary of a Tutor entry, I'm going to talk about worries and uncertainty as a business owner, especially as a tuition business owner. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Keith Fonseca. I'm the founder of That Bio Tutor, and I'm just making these videos. I used to make them because I want to benefit other tutors out there, but now I don't care. Now it's just because this is my diary and my journal, so that I can remember the lessons and failures for the future. So what I wanted to reflect on that I learned recently was I'm reading this book that my friend lent me. It's called The Mountain Is You, and it's basically about self-sabotage. And within that book, they mentioned this point, which is worry. You know, we all have worries, right? And worry is a complete waste of time. I think we all know that. We are spending energy about a possible fear which may not even exist, rather than actually living and actually solving problems. So you see, if a fear was likely and big problem, we would just respond, we would just solve the problem. But we only worry about fears that are small likelihood, because if it was big likelihood, we won't worry, we just do, we just solve problem. But if it's small likelihood, then we worry. And why? Well, the book posits that it's because we kind of feel prepared that, well, if I keep thinking about it, then I can feel more prepared when it actually happens. But I don't think that's a good solution. It doesn't really prepare you, and it's just a waste of lots of energy and thinking space, right? And I think the other reason posed by the book is that we kind of feel safe, that if I can think about the worst case scenario, then I'm safe, you know, because I can't expect that that might happen. But the thing is, probably won't happen, probably won't come true. So yeah, I worry about lots of things in business, and the main thing I worry about is when I drop out of uni next year, January, what will happen to my life? Will everything I've built crumble because I don't have that degree? Will my life go to shambles? I don't think so. I think it's a low likelihood scenario, which is why I'm worrying about it. So after I read that, I felt a lot more calm, because the only reason why we worry is that it's low likelihood. So yeah, and it sucks that most of society is gonna look down on me, disapprove, especially as a tutor. They're gonna disapprove. I mean, my parents don't approve for sure, but it's okay. That's not gonna change my decision. Decision means to cut off a potential path, right? To cut off. So yeah, I've cut that off. I'm not thinking about it anymore. I'm not gonna think, oh, should I not? Nah, I'm doing it. I'm not going. I'm gonna pay back the 16.2k that I need to pay back the university, because they gave me a scholarship. So I need to pay back the fees. So that's how committed I am to dropping out. So yeah, worry is about things which are low likelihood, and that's one of the worries I have on my mind. And next one is uncertainties. So this past week I've had uncertainties in hiring, because there was this guy who came to try, not really try, but he sat in my lesson. He went past the first 2 stages of my selection process for hiring tutors, because that's what I'm doing now. And he seemed to check many boxes. So I was like, is this maybe the guy, right, that I want for this year? And I just felt so much uncertainty in me, like, what if he's not that good? You know, what if he's not the right person? What if there's someone better? But I guess I wouldn't know unless I tried him, right? And plus, I haven't even moved him to the end of my process. Like, why am I even thinking about this? I should think, okay, let's continue moving him through my process. At the end, then I can think about, you know, is he good enough? Because now I don't even have enough information. Why am I worrying about this? And then I talked to my business coach, because I go for this business accountability coaching thing. And he said, like, hey, there's always going to be uncertainty in hiring, right? Always. Even like making friends, there's also uncertainty. Dating, there's also uncertainty. You gotta try. So if you freeze just because it's not certain, not 100% certain, then it's the stupidest decision ever, because you have 100% downside and no chance of upside if you freeze and you don't take action. But if you do go out and hire this person, maybe this will work out. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. But if you don't do anything, then of course it won't work out, because you don't have anyone. So yeah, I'm just telling this to myself, actually. Scolding myself. Okay, then what I notice is a good way to reduce uncertainty is selection tests, because I've had great success in hiring personal assistant, virtual assistants using this process, which is basically just have very strict steps, very strict tests to make sure that I can really assess competency of a person. And usually it's just a small thing that gives me a lot of the data. So a small step, and I don't think I figured that out for tutors yet. So I have to try, and I will refine my process, and I will figure out the method of hiring tutors and what is the selection process and the test, so that I can just copy paste this, because now that's what I do for my virtual assistants, like and even the part-time assistants, basically the same thing. I just have this like invoice test. I get them to make an invoice based on my format, and I even like give them the Word document file so that they can edit it, and then they just have to compare the format, right, and make sure that it's the correct as my my example format. But I set some traps in there, so they have to compare to a spreadsheet for the data, right, of what to put in the invoice. But I made mistakes on purpose in the spreadsheet, so if they don't notice those mistakes, or if they can't even stick to the formatting, which is like basic stuff, then they're not competent. And that's the one test that gives me a lot of data and therefore results in hiring the right person. So I need to find what is that equivalent for tutors. Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud here. So uncertainty is guaranteed. You cannot ask for 100% certainty before making a decision. So note to myself, just move on, just try this guy. And next thing is how to reduce uncertainty. Have good selection tests. So don't just be like, oh yeah, business is risky, let's just try and go, let's just roll the dice. Well, no, like you at least want to I don't know what's the appropriate analogy here, but you at least want to know your chances and to make smart decisions, make educated guesses and educated decisions, not just everything is luck in business. That's absolutely not the case. I mean, there's so much uncertainty in business, and so that's why we have to try our best to control as many variables as we can. If not, everything's just up to luck. So yeah, oh, one more thing about worry and uncertainty, which I myself have not conquered. Every stage of business, there are problems. It's never smooth sailing. It's never like, oh, I can finally just relax and sit back. You know, like now, I'd say that I have a great life. I almost don't work on Sundays anymore, except for teaching that class. And it's pretty relaxed because it's the third time slot already. I've already done the time slot twice before, so I'm very confident in what I'm going to say and what I'm going to teach. So that's quite easy. And Saturdays, I just don't do any work at all. Almost zero. So it's a free day for me. And I've never had this, I think, for the past 3 years. Like, I've always been working on weekends or so. So yeah, this is, I think, one of the best periods in terms of work-life balance. And also, yeah, we are making the most revenue we've ever made so far. Profit probably also true. That is the most so far that we've ever made. So it's like the best, right? The peak, the height. But guess what? There's still problems. So yesterday I realized that my form is too long, and I'm going to make another video about this, about friction versus volume. And I noticed that my form is too long. I need to cut it down, and it's significantly hurting my student sign up rates. I'm pretty sure that most people are not even signing up for the form because it's so long. If I just made it shorter, okay, I'll talk more about it in the next video. So yeah, I realized that, dang, there's this problem, you know, I want to fix it now, but no, that was yesterday, that was my off day, and I was like, no, I'm not going to work today. And today I have things planned, so I'm not going to do that today either. It's going to be tomorrow. So yeah, there's always problems in business, and when you're lying on your bed and you're just like, oh, I realized I should do that. Yeah, then how do we deal with this, right, as business owners, when there are constant problems, constant worries, and like, oh, I should do that, you know? And the good thing is that if you have this kind of character, it drives you to take action. Because I'm an action taker, I have a high bias for just doing stuff now. And yeah, the downside is that my brain just is like an engine that is constantly on and doesn't want to turn off. So at night, I just have to tell myself, shut up, like, I am sleeping, not time to think, time to sleep. Because as you know, when you sleep, I don't know if you're the kind of people who is lucky enough that you don't even remember any gaining of consciousness. Because as you sleep, then, you know, there's always these small periods of time where you gain consciousness and go back, gain consciousness, go back, right? I have that, and that's not very good. I don't have very restful sleep. But if you experience that, like me, when you gain the consciousness and then you just go back, right? But for me, when I gain the consciousness, I realized that the past few thoughts that I had when I gained the consciousness were thinking about stuff like, oh, I should do this in my business. And I'm like, no, this is not the time. Like, shut up, sleep. Now is the time to just stop thinking. So I have to tell myself, shut up, and then, you know, I just drift off again. And yeah, the brain just like is this engine that's idling, constantly running. and it's actually at quite a high speed it's running. So how do you deal with this, right? How do you deal with being at peace and happiness amidst the storm? You see, like, the storm is never ending. It's just constantly more and more stuff, and you solve problems, new problems, solve problems, new problems, right? So how do we find peace amidst the storm? I think I haven't come to that yet, but I need to be at peace with the fact that there will always be problems, and so I need to learn to detach my peacefulness and my happiness from absence of problems, and rather attach it to, I'm not sure yet. I think it's faith that everything will work out. And for me, I'm a Christian, so I believe that God is on my side, and I think that's where the peace will come from. Knowing that everything is fine, everything will work out, even though everything is not fine, even though there are circumstantial problems, right? But these problems are probably just transient. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. And like, how do you ignore the storm? It's like, imagine there's this small hut, right? And outside there's this hurricane raging, and then you go inside the hut and you just like sit down and you have some tea. That's what it's like trying to rest as a business owner. Because when you open the hut door, okay, it's back to work, massive hurricane, and then, okay, time to stop work. Let me come back into the hut and let me just sit down. Except that the hurricane outside does not stop because you're sitting down and trying to have some tea, right? The hurricane just rages on. And here's a scary thing. If you don't battle the hurricane and you just keep sipping your tea, soon the hurricane will destroy your hut and you can't sip your tea anymore. That's a scary thing. So you have to like balance both. You have to battle the problems, fight the hurricane. At the same time, if you constantly fight a hurricane, that's not sustainable, burnout, and then your hurricane will win, right? Problems will prevail. So you have to like balance both the, okay, recovery time, and then, okay, it's back to fighting the hurricane. It's insane. So that's why I'm so sure that, because so many people ask me, oh, what if you hire tutors and then they leave and then they start their own tuition? Guess what? That's called life. That's called being in the tuition industry. Like, just because of that dumb fear, am I not going to hire tutors? Like, look at how many tuition centers hire tutors. Do you think that that stops them from hiring tutors? Imagine how stupid it would be if that stopped them, if that dumb fear stopped them from expanding. Then everyone is just a single tutor like me. What? It's just a stupid reason that people tell me like, oh, aren't you scared? Aren't you scared of, like, if you drive a car you might crash? And why are you going to cars? Why do you take Grab? Why do you drive? Why do you go into bus? Bus might crash, right? Why do you go on MRT? You know, MRT, what if there's a track fault, then the train falls off the tracks? Why do you go outside? You know, if you go outside, maybe like someone throws like litter off from the building and then hits your head and then you die. Why do you go outside? You should stay in your house. Or why do you stay in your house? What if the building crumbles because the foundations are weak and then suddenly it crumbles? Or earthquake, you know? Why do you live? It's such dumb fears that they speak over me to deter me from, hiring tutors. It's a dumb fear. And then, so here's my response to that. My response is, okay, go ahead, try, let them. Because they will have to go through the same stuff I'm going through, which is they have to battle the hurricane outside and come back inside to sip their tea to maintain their sanity. Not many people can do that. I'm very sure of that. I think this is what gives me a lot of confidence. And I hope it's not arrogance, I hope it's not cockiness. But it gives me a lot of confidence because it's such a difficult thing that you're constantly going through. Every second of every day, you are going through this, right, as a business owner. It's a lot of responsibility, a lot of discipline required, and a lot of stress. It's like, so your adversity quotient has to be really high, I believe, to be a business owner. So I feel like most people can't do this. That's why if they leave, like, let them, no problem. Because the best case scenario is that they kind of get to like maybe 30% of what I could build, and it'd be a far cry from what they could have if they work with me. But except that they'll be working like 5 times the hours, and they'll be going through a lot more stress constantly. Yeah, so that's it for this video. I hope it was nice peeking into my mind, and see you in the next one.